we got this working relationship with WWE, and then they have this rise of talent in NXT. It's just everybody's trying to steal a show in TNA, or even if we go over there, you have TNA talent stealing the show in NXT and WWE.
Mhm.
So it's a good collaboration right now, and I think it's a good driving force too. It's lit a fire under a lot of talent, and I look forward to who's tempted to either cross that line or who wants to give a shot at me.
He is strapped up. He is the front line. He is going forward. He is holding the line. Is someone going to cross the line? If there's a line, he's the man who's there to see if you cross the line. Steve Maclin from TNA Wrestling. You guys have maybe the biggest show ever in TNA history. Slammiversary here coming up on July 20th at UBS Arena in Long Island, New York. This is a massive one. It's been coming down the line. What is the sentiment in the locker room right now?
Selling that place out. We want to fill all those seats up with a bunch of asses and have TNA be have its biggest show of the year. That's the goal. And for the buzz right now around TNA, especially with the announcements of us being in the Northeast a little bit now, with Rhode Island just being announced, we're in Pittsburgh next week. It's just it's going to be good to be back in the Northeast, especially being a kid that grew up in New Jersey and being in that Northeast area.
Are you a Devils or Islanders? What's your allegiance
Devils.
there?
I grew up Devils. That was hard to. Yeah, I'm a Devils fan, Yankees fan, Giants fan.
All right, you had to pick. You had so many teams. You got to pick your side there.
Yeah, those are my three. Those are my. If I have sports teams, that's it. Basketball was never really a thing for me. If anything, I liked the 76ers just because Iverson I was a big fan of.
Obviously, coming up here on June 20th and 21st, you guys are going to be in Pittsburgh there, the land of three rivers, at the UPMS Event Center, the UPMC Event Center. Of course, tickets for Slammiversary and that TNA run in Pittsburgh available at TNAWrestling.com. That's also where you can watch Slammiversary. So I was mentioning this is a very, very big time. The collaboration with WWE NXT is being very fulfilling. I got to see you have a massive event in Las Vegas and win that title. You and I had shared some words. That was a big moment for you, but now the challengers are coming. What's it like to have that?
I told you it's the workhorse title.
You told me it was the workhorse title, and you were proving that. And people are coming at you not just like they want to take a title from you, they want to steal a show with you as well.
Yeah, that's the goal. And if you're not there to try to steal a show at some point, then we got this working relationship with WWE, and then they have this rise of talent in NXT. It's just everybody's trying to steal a show in TNA, or even if we go over there, you have TNA talent stealing the show in NXT and WWE. So it's a good collaboration right now, and I think it's a good driving force too. It's lit a fire under a lot of talent, and I look forward to who's tempted to either cross that line or who wants to give a shot at me.
You just took the words right out of my mouth because you had some very declarative statements just about a week ago on Impact and social media, kind of alluding to those things and saying you are a pillar of TNA. And yes, we may have this collaboration, but I am the line. This is my place. I have this new title that is our title. It is not someone else's title. Explain that sentiment. Is there a sense of conflict? Is there some people that feel like, hey, are we making too many concessions here and sharing too much of our space with these outsiders here? Trick Williams is the TNA World Champion right now from NXT.
I don't think it's a conflict. It's just we have a non-TNA World Champion, and it's a big letdown. Granted, on Joe's end, it's not about all a song and dance. You can make all the songs you want, but when it comes down to defending a title, it's whether you're going to put up or shut up. And I think I deliver that every time I'm out there. Do you want me to go out there and sing? Yes, but that's not what I'm about. That's not who I am. I'm going to go out there and kick the ever-living crap out of you. And like I've been saying for the past few weeks, I'm the one that's holding the line in TNA now. You want to cross it? Know what you're going to have to get her to. What? Know what? Can't even talk. I'm just fired up about it. Just know what's standing on that line if you want to cross that line and who's holding it.
Is there anyone on the other side that you're looking at like, okay, that guy, I wish he would do it?
There's a lot of talent there, and not so much in NXT, but there's a lot of former TNA talent that I would love to mix it up with that are on Raw and SmackDown, like a Drew McIntyre. And AJ Styles would be somebody I would love to cross that line and see back in the TNA ring, and I think the whole world would love to see that.
I think there's a lot of people that want that AJ Styles one. That was the one immediately when we heard about this official collaboration. Everyone's like, AJ Styles? It was like the immediate impulse fantasy booking right there.
And I think that's the right time, the right moment kind of thing. If it ever does happen, if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's okay. But it's just something of what one of those what ifs. It's kind of like the Undertaker Sting match. You always wanted that match. It's one of those moments. But if you don't get it, you always just think of the what if. So it's just always its own creativity in its own mind.
So TNA in a very, very positive position. A wildly different position than it was when you hopped into TNA a couple years ago. You had a run with WWE, and everyone wants reinvention, and TNA for a while was the reinvention factory for people that wanted to stay in televised pro wrestling. What is the feeling in TNA now compared to then? Because it's a very arduous period that TNA went through.
From going from WWE, obviously being part of the Forgotten Sons and on television there, with being on SmackDown, and then also being in NXT for so long. From that iteration of me to then coming to TNA and being able to just kind of open up my notebook and my mind and show the world kind of who I want you to see me as. And I think I've done that, and I've been working on that. I'm still a body of work. Every day you're in a ring, anytime you're behind the scenes, you're always learning, you're always trying to perfect your craft. And that's what I just aspire to do, whether it's for myself or just to help others as well down the road. But for me, when I got to Impact, before it was rebranded TNA, it was already on that cusp of just getting that notoriety and that buzz again, and people weren't realizing it. And I just said this in a previous interview where it's like, anytime I travel, it's like, oh, what do you do for a living? It's like, oh, I pro wrestle. Oh, what company? I was like, oh, Impact Wrestling. Like, oh, what's that? I'm like, do you remember TNA? And then when people go, oh, yeah, I remember TNA. Well, it's not TNA anymore. It's like, no, we're Impact Wrestling. It was rebranded. Yeah. And it was always a very hard selling point. But then once TNA did the full-on rebrand, that bubble finally burst. And TNA Wrestling is just now the talk of the town, because that's just what TNA Wrestling's always been about. It's a place for reinvention. It's a place for people that have, not to say they were misused, but they just weren't used at the time because it's just they weren't fitting the role that they were put in at that moment. So now you get an opportunity somewhere else to kind of show the world, and people go, oh, wow, he's actually really good, or she's really good. I didn't know they could do this. And it's just, that's pro wrestling. There's the territories back in the day, and now you have the different companies everywhere.
Yeah, it's almost like a revival of the territory system, except it isn't isolated to like a geographical area.
No, it's global.
Yeah, especially with the internet, like what would be, So
well, that's also the hard thing too with the internet now with wrestling fans. Like I couldn't imagine being a wrestling fan, because what happens on a Monday you forget about by the time it's even Wednesday.
Yeah, and so much.
You have Monday,
so
Tuesday,
much.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday TV, and then even Saturdays. So it's just like, you can have a 60-minute Iron Man match on Monday, and it's the best match ever, and then not be talked about within a few days.
Isn't that crazy? Is that true? Is that ever something that like maybe you never knew you had to deal with? Is that there's just so much? Like I think of this with, I work in radio and comedy. Like I have to put out so much to get ahead because there's just so many more people competing, because it's so accessible in terms of just, you can watch on your phone, you can watch on your laptop. It's so accessible. Is that a challenge for wrestlers to kind of find something that really gets a footing with people?
It is, and the prime example would be Joe Hendry. Look what he was everywhere. His meme is everywhere of him just doing the turn, his song. It was on Spotify, it was trending, and then people just caught on to it, and then they're using it at arenas or stadiums for football games, hockey games. And it catches on. And once you can find kind of that thread, it's very hard to do, because I'm not a very tech savvy person. I'm not a big social media person. I've gotten better at it, but I've always shied away from it, because I want what I want people to see be done in a ring or on television. I don't want to give away everything that I do, but at the same time, like there's a different niche for everything. So it's what works for certain people.
Some people are Happy Meals and other people are steak and potatoes. So I can appreciate what you're going for there. So Slammiversary coming down the line here, some things kind of coming together for you. Where do you see yourself on Slammiversary as we speak right now, and the issues you have building there? Obviously, Mance Warner gave you some trouble at Against All Odds. That was not an easy match, but you guys got a whole lot in 10 minutes, and it was certainly nasty. How do you see things landing for you when you guys get to Long Island here coming up in July?
Not too sure on my end of I will be defending my title. I know that, but it's against whom and from where. I would prefer it be an international talent from whether Mexico, Japan, just anywhere, even an outsider who, like I said, whoever dares cross that line, even from an NXT or even main roster of Raw and SmackDown.
You putting out an open challenge here, Steve?
Yes, it's to any and all challengers. That's why it's an international. I told you that it was going to be a workhorse title.
You
It's
did.
a workhorse title.
You were covered in the glaze. You were a stallion flesh off the track, man. And I saw it. You know.
It's just it's a way to put that chip on my shoulder to carry something that I feel is what a champion should do, is go out there and work your butt off, give the best match possible, and if it's not, you go back to the drawing board and do it again the next day.
Absolutely. He is the workhorse of TNA Wrestling. You can see TNA Wrestling Impact every Thursday as well. Get more, see more at TNA Plus and TNAWrestling.com. Once again, coming up here, they're going to be in Pittsburgh on June 20th and 21st at the UPMC Event Center. 2-day tickets are available at TNAWrestling.com. And then you can see Slammiversary. That's going to be streaming on live pay-per-view through TNA Plus. And, of course, get everything at TNAWrestling.com from Long Island, New York, at the UBS Arena on July 20th. Maybe, likely, the biggest TNA wrestling show of all time. And I certainly expect Steve Maclin to have a role on it. Steve, thank you once again for the time. Looking forward to see who you get in there and ring the bell of next. Whoever crosses that line. You certainly got me wondering who's gonna show up.
We'll see who it is, but I know it's gonna be a tag 'em, bag 'em, KIA, and that's the end of it.
There we go. This is all this military terminology. I have to look up after we speak.
That's my way of implementing my military stuff and not being so very forceful with like waving the flag, pro America, and it's not the '80s anymore. It's just it's the most real thing ever. So it's just giving those military lingo in there where I can.
Before I lose you here, can you tell me about Tunnel of Towers and the One World Trade Center? You were doing something here on June 1st?
It was awesome to be a part of. My wife.
What exactly is this for people that don't know?
So Tunnel of Towers is an organization that helps veterans, whether homeless or anyone that was wounded in combat, and also helps first responders and their families as well. They take care of mortgages for families of first responders who have passed, helping with smart homes for military veterans who are disabled from combat. It was something that was so cool to be a part of, and to climb 104 stories ahead of my wife. We tried to start together, and then she gave me the wave because she knew I was just overzealous and wanted her to go. I ended up doing it in 27 minutes, which I was pretty proud of myself.
What? The whole thing?
Yeah.
You did that in 27 minutes?
It's not even the best time. There was a person that did it in like 15.
What? How many floors?
104 stories.
How are your quads not exploding?
I think around 40 is where I just started dripping sweat, and my legs were fine, but it was hot, and I was just like, you know what, just keep pushing. Just if you stop, that's when you'll stop. If you just keep pushing, you get to the top. And I'll tell you right now, at the World Trade Center 1, getting to the top was just a surreal, cool moment, because just the community of just veterans, first responders with NYPD, the Port Authority, the FDNY, and the family members, just all competing, either whether they're trying to go out there and do it in 15 minutes or an hour and a half. It was just really cool to be a part of, and just to see just a good community of family and friends coming together.
How much are you bragging about this with your wife and fellow pro wrestler Deonna Purrazzo that you were able to finish it first? Is that a bragging point in the Maclin household?
There's a joke there too, but no.
I'll let it go. I'll let it go. That's all right. That's all right.
No, we're just growing up in the Northeast, like growing up in New Jersey, especially across the river. It was even cool seeing from the World Trade Center 1. Like I could see my hometown where I grew up. Mm-hmm. So for 9/11 was such a big part of our lives growing up, and I was a freshman in high school when it happened, and it's kind of what drove me into the military too, just because our country was attacked that day, and I just felt like I needed to do something, I needed to give back, and that was joining the Marines. And then here I am years later giving back to the community as well, trying to get a part of this, and I can't thank my wife enough for getting us involved in that, because now we're doing the 5K in September, and I'm looking forward to that. So we get to finish pretty much the entire walk that Steven Siller did across the bridge and then to the World Trade Center Tower 1. And it's just a really good organization to be a part of with Tunnel to Towers.
And of course, they can get information from that on your socials. And if they want to follow the real account, where do they go? I always want people to go to the real one.
T2T.org. I think it is. I may be wrong. If not, look on my social medias as well. If not, I'll also, when this goes out, if you ask a question on where to go and follow it, I'll send a reply or a quote tweet on it as well.
Yeah, I'll make sure we actually link to that in the description for this as well.
Yes, I should know that information. I apologize.
That's all right. Hey, it's all right. I have my notes here. I was like, oh wait, I got to talk to him about going up the World Trade Center. That's an amazing thing.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
it was a really cool moment to be a part of that.
So are you going to follow Darby Allin and try and climb a mountain now?
Hell no, I'll climb towers. he can stick to mountains. Good for dude. That's insane to me. Good for him. Insane. But like that just shows like people just set out to go do something and go do it. Yeah. That's the one benefit of pro wrestling is like we get to kind of open up the world to just other things, and it's not just about what we do in ring, it's what we do behind the scenes and for the community. And I love giving back where I can, especially to the veteran community, because it's a community to me that's just neglected in its own way. And I know there's so much good that people see, but there's still a lot of bad out there with being homeless and a lot of people that just are kind of at the end of their wits of their life, and with suicide awareness and mental health, it's a big thing that I want to be involved in and giving back. So I just love bringing awareness where I can.
Absolutely. It's meaningful. And if anyone is watching this and they're a wrestling fan, there are many organizations you can get involved with locally where you are too as well. So definitely seek that out. Steve, thank you so much for the time. Excited for what's going on with Slammiversary coming up here in July. Of course, once again, June 20th and 21st in Pittsburgh, and then July 20th coming up here in Long Island, New York. Tickets available at tnawrestling.com.